Hello everyone, this is Spliced and welcome to my Season 2 gear stat guide. This will be a guide on explaining all of the new gear stats that have come to Season 2, what they do, and what would be the best optimal situation for you guys to choose each piece of gear. I'll be going over the positive and negatives of each and making sure that you guys have a full understanding of what you're choosing with each piece of gear, as well as the understanding of what each piece of gear does. So that being said, let's get right into it. I'm going to start off at the helmet. So for my helmet, I have positive defense, positive exhaustion recovery, and negative debuff resistance. As you guys may know, when Season 2 launched, they have changed the values of everything, and they also changed the way you see the values. So now you see a percentile instead of a progress bar. I'm going to say right away, right off the bat, that the most annoying thing I have to say, or the only annoying thing I have to say about this, is that they do not state which one of your stats has the primary benefit and which one has the secondary benefit. It's quite obvious which one has the negative benefit due to the negative effect that it gives, but as from the last season, they showed a progress bar for the primary and a progress bar for the secondary. And what I mean by that is one of the stats has significant benefit over the others, and then there's a secondary that has somewhat of decent value over the others as well. So it's like half compared to the main one, and the main one has significant value. That is the only thing that they do not explain, and it's a bit frustrating at first because you will not be able to tell unless you have two different pieces of gear that tell you otherwise, that you have different stats on them. So I have defense at plus 4% and exhaustion recovery at plus 57% and negative debuff resistance at 22%. The reason why I've chose this is because I do not want to go positive on all of them, as I do not believe that debuff resistance is it is decent and it can help you in situations, but for the most part, in my opinion, I don't think I really benefit from it too much. I do believe that in the future, if I do see some problems with having negative debuff resistance, then I will change it. And so far, I have not really gone into matches to see if that has made a change. But I have tested out all the other gear, and this is the final choice that I've come out with. Now, the one thing I will say is to prevent myself from spending a ton of steel, I have not bought enough helmets to see if my defense is the primary or my exhaustion is the primary. So I'm sticking with this for now, and if I see one that has higher defense, I will take the defense over exhaustion recovery and make my exhaustion the secondary and make the defense the primary, if that is not already the case. Moving on to the chest piece, I have negative 8% defense, plus 22% revenge mode defense, and plus 13% revenge mode duration. This might be a little bit confusing for you guys, but I will gladly explain why I chose this. I like to prioritize revenge over my primary normal stats, and that's because revenge gives a significant bonus in defense in itself. So boosting that even more makes it more viable, especially when you get ganged up on by enemies. So you want to make sure that you prioritize getting as highest stats for revenge as possible, in my opinion, as well as when 1.05 patch released, as far as I can remember, they separated the stats of revenge and your regular gear stats. So if you're in a 1v1 situation without revenge, then your regular attack and defense stats apply, but when you activate revenge, those defense stats and attack stats become nullified, and it now applies your new revenge defense and revenge attack. And this is why I chose negative defense over revenge mode defense, or revenge mode duration, is because I will have a lot less defense in the 1v1 situations, but in gank situations I will have a much significant better advantage, in my opinion, since I will be in revenge mode a lot more. And the reason why I increase the revenge mode duration instead of lower it is to keep that defense as long as possible. I believe in longer revenge mode duration. I know a lot of people like to believe in shorter revenge mode duration to get that defense bar more often, but I feel like without revenge, your defense is very low. So you can, that small window of time where you have to wait for your revenge to gain back up, they can take you out very easily. So I like to be in revenge mode because of all the benefits that it gives me. So that is my choice for the chest piece. Moving on to the arms, I have plus 5% defense and plus 16% stamina cost reduction and negative 16% stamina regen. Now, while I did say that I do like to benefit off of revenge the most, and I don't really mind making myself a little bit weak in the 1v1 situations, for this specific reason, I have decided to counter the negative with a positive to make it more evened out. And the reason why I'm not going positive across the board is because when you're in revenge mode, stamina has no purpose, because you have unlimited stamina essentially, unless if you get hit by a feat that takes away your stamina. And so stamina regen is not really too big of an issue for me. And I'll get into that a little bit later with a couple of my other items here. So I have 5% defense to counter the negative 8% with my helmet that also gives me a defense boost. So it makes it around a 0% defense boost, which is okay in a 1v1 situation. It makes it more like a regular duel, like you have no gear, which is perfectly fine. And stamina cost reduction, I have that all the way up so I can continue a chain of combos. For those who have been using Lawbringer, you should know that a lot of your heavy attacks use up a lot of stamina, so you want to make sure that you have that cost reduction down a lot. And I had this all the way to 0 when I was in Season 1. I had max defense and almost max attack with like 0 stamina cost reduction, and it was a bit hard for me to maintain my combos, but that was the risk that I decided to take, because in the long run, as long as I beat my opponent in the end, I can keep that max defense and high damage as well for the gank situations and other situations that I might be thrown into. And stamina cost reduction and stamina regen, like I said, does not have any effect when revenge is active. So that is the reason why I chose this. Moving on to the weapon, I have decided to go positive across the board. And for those who don't know, when Season 2 was released, you can now go positive with every single stat, but the increase is very small in comparison to prioritizing one and the other stat over the other and giving the other negative. And I will show that in a second, but for now I'm going to explain that I have positive plus 2.7% attack, plus 8.7% defense penetration, and plus 36.8% block damage. I'm going to say right away that I have not tested the block damage so far, so I am not too sure if it is viable or not, so do not look to me for an answer right now. I do not have an answer. I will try to update you guys on that as soon as possible, but from what I've been seeing in my matches, I don't think it has too much of an impact at the moment as well, same as Season 1. But I gave myself the attack to do just a little bit more damage in the 1v1 situations, and defense penetration, which is the most important one. What it does is it equalizes the enemy's armor towards your armor. It is more so for lower gear players. So if you have no gear, this is the perfect opportunity to get yourself the ability to do damage to high gear players. The more defense penetration you have, the more you will be able to nullify the enemy's defense, bringing them to a standard duel style kind of defense. And that is very useful, because when you have no gear and they have high gear, you're at a huge you're at a huge gap in terms of the stats. So you want to be able to level yourself out as much. But what does this mean for high gear players? Well, it does still have the penetration value, but if you have a higher defense than the other player that you're using this weapon on, it will not give them more defense, but what it will do, it will give you a small increment of penetration. It's a very minor increase, but it helps. And the reason why I am not prioritizing these two stats over the other stat, for example, attack, defense, penetration over block damage, is because I believe that block damage, when it's negative, will be very useless. And like I said, I have not tested it and I want to test it, so I'm going to say that for now I am going positive stats across the board, but not all the way. This is just sort of a test kind of item, but at the same time, like I said, attack is only useful in the 1v1 situation. So if I prioritize attack over block damage and then I get revenge and I have no block damage with my revenge damage, then it will prove to be completely useless. So I would like to test that a little bit more, and I will be testing it with this weapon right here that gives me plus 73% block damage over 36%. I have prioritized defense penetration and block damage over attack, and I do believe that block damage has the priority in this over defense penetration. Like I said, there's a primary stat that gets a bonus, and then there is a secondary stat that gets a bonus, with the third stat getting a huge negative bonus. They have increased the negative bonuses of the third stat as well, for those who do not know. And the other weapon I have here is to just further prove this point, that it is still positive in these two stats, but the stats are different. There's more defense penetration and less block damage right here. So as you can clearly see, the negative is still the same, but the positives have been switched. So there's your proof right there that they're still going by this rule standpoint, that there's a primary and a secondary and then a tertiary that gets a negative. So there's the proof right there. Moving on to the shaft of the weapon, I have decided to prioritize attack and execution health regen over revive speed. This should be pretty self-explanatory. Revive speed doesn't really help you in any kind of fight situation. Of course, that makes me less of a team player, I will admit, but for the long run, reviving in battle is a risky play, as you can take free hits from the enemy if you're not really paying attention. So I'd rather prioritize my attack for 1v1 situations, and also to counter effect the negative effects that I had in the previous, and also to get execution health regen, just a little bit extra health when you execute. And here is to show again that the stats have been switched with the same negative effect. 5% attack over 6.7 and 36.8% execution health regen over 27.6%. Moving on to the final part, which is the spike. I have given myself negative 6.7% attack, which, as you can see, plus 6.7 makes this completely nullified. So in total, I gain a total of 2.7% attack in a 1v1 situation. Very minor, so pretty much not really there. But that's okay, because again, in revenge situations, it's completely nullified. And of course, I went for revenge gain over revenge mode attack. Or sorry, I went revenge gain and revenge mode attack with 19% and 22%. So as you can see here, revenge gained and revenge mode attack have been switched here. And I like to prioritize revenge mode attack and damage over the revenge gain, because when you're in a 2v1 or more situation, your revenge goes up exponentially, so because the more players that are locked onto you multiplies the amount of revenge you get per hit. And the other thing that they changed as well is they merged all the revenge gain into one. So revenge gain on defense and revenge gain on injury has been merged into one stat. So you want to make sure, no matter what, that you're prioritizing revenge gain as a positive. You cannot have this as a negative no matter what. So if you guys choose to go positive all the board or just two stats, make sure revenge gain is there, because if that's negative, you will be getting revenge very slowly, and I do not recommend that. So I prioritize revenge mode attack over revenge gain in terms of primary and secondary stats. So that's about it for all the gear stats in Season 2. If you guys have any more questions, please feel free to enter in the comments what you guys have to ask me. I'm pretty sure I have a good knowledge on how these gear stats work. If there's anything that was still confusing and you guys don't understand, make sure to ask. I will try to answer as many as I can. This is my opinion, of course, of what I believe is best. And this does not only apply to the Lawbringer, this applies to many other classes as well. I'm just using my Lawbringer as an example for this video. So with that being said, hope you guys did enjoy this video. Hope you guys learned something, and I'll see you guys in the next video.